After the life-changing, amazing experience of The Strangers Chapter 1, Kaylee and I were frothing at the mouth in anticipation for part 2. No?
No.
Oh.
There was no frothing involved.
Okay. Well, we didn't care for the first one much. Kaylee outright hated it. I was not a fan, for sure. I didn't hate it like she hated it. Holy fuck. That might be the most I've ever seen her hate a movie outside of maybe, like, Devon. But holy hell, you were, like, going off on the movie. Yeah, it's not great. I would like to revisit it at some point, just out of pure curiosity, because, anyway. So, The Strangers Chapter 2. Did it make any improvements over the first one? Let's discuss it. Kaylee and I actually saw this like 6-7 hours ago. We've watched a couple movies since. We didn't have to, but we went to a ceremony for my brother, and like we've done a lot of things, and we have yet to discuss this film in any detail. Not one word has been exchanged between us. I have a feeling I know where she lands on this movie just from her reactions in the theater, but I will be curious on what you think my reaction's gonna be.
Oh,
so I will let you take the floor. I guess I should say this up front. So this takes place directly after the events of the first film. We are following the survivor character of the previous installment, and she is on the, she's on the run. Sorry. I was like, she's on the chase.
She's not on the lam.
Yeah, I was like, in my head, I couldn't make that work. She's on the run from the strangers who are after her. This is a chase movie. I mean, the whole fucking movie is her running from them, from start to finish. So I am curious on your thoughts of your experience. I asked Kaylee though before we say another word here. I did for sure, and I leaned over to you and I was like, going with an open mind because you hated this first one, and you said I will 100%. Did you? Okay.
Yes,
good.
I did.
All right.
And I feel like I now know, like, kind of where you are at, maybe, with this. Just based on everything that you're saying. But no, I still didn't like this movie.
Okay.
I don't think that it's really much of an improvement from the first. I still had a lot of issues with, like, some of the plot points in this.
Okay.
There's one in particular that, like, I just feel like this whole scene, this whole thing that happens just feels very unbelievable to me for, like, multiple reasons. There is maybe one element of the movie that I did like, which has to do with, like, I don't know, I don't want to, like, give away spoilers or anything, but there's something about the killers, I guess, that's done in this that I thought was fine, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't really elevate the film for me, though. I think the rest of it is still kind of, honestly, just for me the same as the first. I didn't really find anything to be all that interesting, and I just but I did go in with an open mind. I did sit there and go, okay, I'm gonna give it a chance, I'm gonna try.
Yeah.
I don't know, what did you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is a pretty tremendous improvement over the first film. I don't agree with you on that one. I think the first one is just a very poor rehash of the first film, and I prefer the first one, and I'm not even like a huge fan of the first one. I just felt that it took way too long to get where it was going. It was rather boring in a lot of places, and in this one, I mean, I don't think this movie's ever boring. This movie is literally chase from beginning to end. Now, is the movie perfect? All that stuff. I don't really care. No. And I do have my issues with it, but I enjoyed this much more. And I think that what worked about the film for me is the lead actress's performance of when she genuinely feels like not only is she terrified for this entire picture, but she's also feels like very helpless in a lot of things, and she's just like everything's against her, and there's this feeling in the movie that she is like she can't trust anybody, right? And that I feel she plays really well. I think the actress actually does a really damn good job in this film of conveying her emotions throughout. I thought her performance was pretty damn good. But, you know, because it's a slasher film, you know, first and foremost, the slasher elements, like when the kills happen, because there are other characters that come into the movie and end up dying, all of those are piss poor. There's like no gore, the kills are cutaways. That stuff pissed me off. And I don't understand why they would do that. Because I feel like if this had really damn good kill scenes, like if they went hard with the kill scenes and there was graphic gore, I would have really enjoyed this, like a lot. And that is such a major letdown because it's like in a movie like this, I'll never understand the decision to not go for it, to make it more violent, to make it more graphically, you know, um, upsetting and grotesque. And that's just like kind of what the audience would want. And I don't know. So
I think like from what I remember, we did not like her performance in the first film. I do think she's given more to go on here, but I feel like what you were I mean like what you were saying where it's like it chased the whole time, it felt so repetitive to me.
it
I
is.
feel like it's the same thing over and over again, just in different like settings, honestly. So as far as that goes, like I think that she gives a better performance, but I think it's kind of the same thing like over and over again in each of these new settings.
It is.
And I actually did not like the atmosphere that they set up where she's distrustful of everybody. I think possibly some of that has to do with the fact that, like, a lot of those scenes are shown in the trailer, and
Mm,
it gave it this very, uh, kind of gimmicky, like, just
cliche.
cheesy
Oh,
feeling
uh-huh.
to it that I wasn't vibing with. I was like, yeah, okay, she doesn't trust anybody, like, of course, but it just, I don't know. And this could also be because I just didn't like the film and am not a fan of the first one. But for me, it didn't, the atmosphere didn't feel like real or gritty enough, I guess. It felt cheesy and cliche.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, I thought like I mean, the kills are awful in this. The
Yeah.
things that happen in this are just like so bad. There's one like that we just can't talk about because of spoilers, but there's this like the scene I was talking about. I have so many problems with it. I think that the new thing that is done in this, I guess, is fine, but you know, because there's this whole setup that there's going to be a new film, it sort of is like, well, we don't get the whole story. We don't get to know like everything, which I guess is fair, but it's like if you take the film by itself, there's not enough to go on. I'm being very vague on this.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, really what she's alluding to, which is fine. I don't think that this is like some major spoiler or anything, is that we just get a little bit more focus on the killers and where they come from. And I don't, like, that's fine. I don't, like, I'm not going to get into details about that. But yeah, we do finally get to explore the killers a little bit more than we normally do. Usually they're just kind of background, shadowy figures that are elusive and mysterious. And in this one, we kind of pull back the veil a bit and get some of their story, which I was a fan of. I think that that was the way to go with all three of these. When they had announced that there was three films, I had suggested in our original trailer breakdown, I think, that if there's three films and there's three killers, since this franchise is famous for its trio of killers, it would make the most sense that each one of the films was focused on each one of the killers and maybe getting some bit of their backstory or something that's more centric to them, right? Where maybe the events play through Sackhead, whatever the fuck his name is, and then like Dollface and whatever these
Other
people.
doll face.
No, it's like a pinup girl, I think is the other one. But if you just get like all three movies kind of go through each one of those characters, where the main focus of the killer is you know the baghead, and then the next movie, but you can still have all three of them together. It's just the focus of the film and their backstory for each one of them, and how they all interconnect and weave together. I thought that would be cool, but no, I mean, yes. Is this a tropey film? Yes. Is it repetitive? Absolutely. So there's a lot of conveniences. Now,
oh my God,
I think that
so many conveniences.
I think that what's supposed to be a takeaway from this is that the strangers, the killers, they aren't just the type of killers who come and murder you, right? Like we see in the first film and in all of the films thus far, that they like to antagonize their prey. This is what they do. They love to fuck with them. They like to come to the door, you know, knock, is Tamara home, you know, that kind of shit. They could just break in, because like in the first movie, the original, we see that they're in the house, like unbeknownst to Liv Tyler's character. Right? They could kill her at any moment. This is child's play to them. Killing them isn't the fun. Right? Antagonizing them is the fun. So there is a lot of scenes in this movie where, yes, if their goal was to just kill her, then there's a lot of conveniences and stupidity that I'm like, okay, we're going to do that again. She's going to be able to get out of this situation because they just left. Why would they leave? Why would they leave? They have to know she's in that room. They have to know she's in that place. They have to know where she's at, right? And for me, she now is like, she's a survivor, and she's the one who got away. So she's really interesting to them. So now they are playing the long game, and they're purposely kind of fucking with her and letting her kind of get away by the skin of her teeth. Mm-hmm. That's how I took it, right? And that's the only way to take it to enjoy the film. Because if you are trying to buy that they are outright like focused on killing her and are failing as much as they do and as conveniently as it happens, then it's shit. And it's like, this doesn't make sense at all. But because of the previous installments, because of how I know they are, I just always took it as that, right? And because they don't really talk or anything, you don't get to have any character moments with them. And that's the only real character stuff going on with them in their, you know, in this time part, you know, I'm trying to remain vague. But, so that's how I explained that stuff away.
Sure.
But you are correct, and I agree with you, that it really does come down to like these set pieces where she's in the hospital and it culminates to this place, and then she gets out by the skin of her teeth, you know, by doing this thing. Then it's to this area, rinse, lather, repeat. Then it's to this area, rinse, lather, repeat. There is one break in that, though, where we introduce an animal. Now, I am curious on your thoughts on this scene. We won't get too into detail about the animal scene.
Well, this is the scene that I was talking about.
Quite liked this scene.
Oh my God,
and I figured you hated it.
This scene.
Okay. I
hated it.
Yeah, I actually thought this was cool and unique and different to the franchise and changed things up. So we can't really talk about it.
It makes no sense.
Okay.
But yeah, we can't really talk about it. But I hated it. I absolutely hated it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could gauge that reaction from you in the theater.
I thought it was so
bad. I think that more people will be in agreement with you on that. I think most people will find it stupid. I didn't, and I think that some of that has to do with because I know the history of that animal, from stuff that I've watched, and I also I like that there's at least a change up because of the other films where I'm like, okay, at least we're doing something different here. But that's not really something you like in general anyway, right? Is animal stuff, being a villain.
But
You're not into that.
That's not really why I don't like it. There's just a lot of elements to that scene that I think are major conveniences and just don't make sense. I know what you're meaning about like the history of the animal, and I think that's fine, like as far as why the choice of that one, but I don't know, it really didn't work for me. I thought the whole scene was kind of just bad, and it felt almost, I mean, yeah, it does feel like an attempt to just kind of change things up for a minute, like, but also it weirdly felt like filler to me too. I don't know.
Okay.
I think it's supposed to be symbolic of certain, aspects of the killers.
Okay.
But no. Yeah. It didn't work for me.
Yeah. So I'm not in love with it by any means.
Yeah.
I still think
you're higher on it than me by a lot, though.
I think it's good. I think it's like I don't want to say fine. I just thought it was like a good chase movie. Right? Like I've watched a decent amount of these types of films in my life where it is just go from minute 1 to minute's end.
Yeah.
Right? We don't really have much downtime in this movie. This is her on the run from the killers for 90 straight minutes. And I appreciated that about the film. That's kind of what I expected, but
I think part of part of also why it doesn't work is because you know that this is the middle film of a trilogy. Like, she never really feels like she's in that much danger. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she gets hurt and things happen, but I feel like it's almost expected that because there's a third film, that there's going to be a continuation of the story. Like, there's not going to be an ending here.
So that's, I don't know. I feel like you're being harsh on this because you don't like the first movie, so you're not vibing with this one because these were shot back to back, right? Like,
sure.
We know that this is a planned trilogy. We know that this was filmed all together. Your favorite films, like mine, are The Lord of the Rings. Mm-hmm. And at no time do I think during the Battle of Helm's Deep is Aragorn going to die. But that doesn't ever take away the thrilling nature of it. And it's like, I know because there's a third movie, Aragorn's definitely not dying. Nor is Legolas. Nor is Gimli. Nor is, no one in that fucking movie dies.
But those are epic stories where there's a lot of characters and a lot of things.
I'm not trying to compare the two on that scale. I'm just saying you're being a little more. Whereas with this, if we take it as a slasher trilogy, even knowing that it was always planned that way. There's plenty of slashers that have 3 films, but not, and maybe that's part of it. Maybe it's because usually it's like they make part 1 and then people love it, so they come out with part 2 or whatever. But there's I don't know. I just think that maybe adds an element to it, is just the fact that this is a middle film in a trilogy, so it kind of is just mid in all of those senses, middle, because there's no, there's not going to be any conclusion and nothing, I don't know. I get what you're saying, and I agree with you on the sense of that. I'm accepting the film for what it is, not what I want it to be, right? What I would have wanted it to be is a completely different experience overall as a trilogy. I would have introduced way more characters. I wouldn't have had a main character. And if you're going to do a trilogy, then you have a Game of Thrones style feel to the trilogy where you genuinely don't know who's going to survive each film. That's the way to do something like this. To whittle your protagonists down from 2 to 1 in a trilogy by the fucking end of the first film is just stupid. That's why I didn't like the first movie. In addition to all the other shit, is we have 1 character left and there's 2 films. There's more fucking films left than characters, and it's a slasher. What are you gonna do? And it's exactly what we thought. This movie, she's gonna be impervious to anything because she has to be. She has to have plot armor. So I knew that going into it. As I said, like, I'm like, of course she's not going to die. That can't happen. That's stupid, and that is a problem with the first film. That's a problem with the entire franchise as a whole. Right? This trilogy. But I accepted that going in. I just was like, obviously nothing can happen to her, fine, and I have to accept that. And so I never thought about it the whole film. Did I ever think she was going to die in this movie? Is this even a spoiler to say she doesn't die? Of course she doesn't die. That's not a spoiler. Anybody who went to see this movie knows that she doesn't die. That is an annoyance, and it is a part of the problem of doing this trilogy like this. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Why you wouldn't have like a group of people that went up to a cabin, right? And it's like you have the couple that gets engaged, and then you have like 2 to 3 other sets of friends with them. They all get attacked, and you have 3 survivors at the end or whatever, and then they go into the second movie, and then they pick up a couple people along the way, and then a couple are killed off, and then there's maybe like 3 left by the end of this movie. That's the way to do something like this. This doesn't make any fucking sense to have one character throughout a whole trilogy. But whatever. It is what it is. I think it is a fine, good chase movie with a lot of dumb conveniences, because obviously there's going to have to be because of the structure of this trilogy. I think it's an improvement over the first. Would I like this movie as much if I didn't like the first movie as much as I did? I don't know. Because I had such a low expectation of this one going in, it might have elevated my experience with it. But I'm still at like a 3, or like a 3.5 would be super generous, right? So I'm not like fucking crazy on this thing. 3's probably fair. 3's probably fair. That's about where I'll probably put it on Letterboxd out of 5. 3. It's just like, yeah, all right. It's a decent chase movie. But the first one got a 1.5 for me. So it's like doubled.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm fine with that. I think there's cool things. I think there's lame things. So that person's prediction was right on me, but terribly wrong on you.
Yeah, I definitely don't find it to be a major improvement from the first. I think if you're somebody who liked the first, you'll like this one. So, like, there's nothing wrong with that. And yeah, maybe people will be like you, where they did not like the first one, but thought this one was a lot better than that.
Yeah. It's still not a good trilogy so far.
No,
right?
I just I still feel like I'm wasting time watching the movies.
I mean,
outside of the channel.
Yeah. Well, yeah, when we were
like
walking
not
into
something
this,
I have any interest in watching.
Yeah, when we were walking into this, Kaylee was just like, straight up, if we didn't have the channel, I wouldn't watch this.
No.
So she took one for you guys.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I guess this movie definitely did for me what it didn't do for you, to where I'm actually interested in seeing where 3 goes, and you could care less.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm kind of expecting a very mediocre conclusion,
so
honestly.
If
I'm expecting no surprises, nothing like risk taking, like
let's say
I'm not expecting anything.
we for some reason get rid of the channel between now and then. We don't have the channel anymore in 6 months, whatever. And this comes out.
Yeah.
You're seeing it or no?
No, not like in theaters.
Yeah. Would you eventually ever watch it?
Maybe, if I heard
if you heard good things.
That people were pleasantly surprised or whatever.
But people were like, it's just the same as the other 2.
Yeah, I wouldn't watch it.
You would never watch it?
No.
Okay. I figured.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you see Kaylee's review for 3, she's also taking one for the team.
You're welcome.
Hey, maybe it'll be the Halloween Ends.
Hey, maybe. I will go into it open-minded like I did this one. I did, whether or not you believe that I did.
It's not going to be. It's going to be exactly in line with these.
I have, some predictions for what might happen and some, I think they might try to do some twisty things. Or not even twists, but, kind of shock stuff. But I feel like it's predictable. There's one, possibility of how they could take it, which we can talk about afterwards, and you guys can't hear, unfortunately. which I don't know if I'll really like that, but I could see it happening because I think they might think it's edgy, I guess.
Okay.
Anyway, we'll talk about it after, but I'm curious to see what everyone else thinks. I don't like being a hater on films. I like always try to be as positive as I can, but these movies
mostly negative.
Yeah, these movies just aren't for me, and yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But I'm curious to hear what other people think. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, let us know. Strangers Chapter 2 in theaters now. Wouldn't it be crazy? We shouldn't say crazy. Wouldn't it be funny? Is the right word, maybe? I said this when we were walking in or out of this, that the third one is probably going straight to VOD.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Because there's like no one in the theater.
There was like nobody. And
this has terrible ratings.
This is the time of year. I mean, this is like, we're at the end of September.
This
is when all of the horror movies and like scary stuff, like people are...
We'll have to keep an eye on the box office. Because if the box office is really low...
Yeah.
I will not be surprised if they drop the third one on VOD.
Yeah, I won't be either.
That would be wild. Because this was definitely planned. Like, they really thought they had something here.
Kind of sucks.
And
that they had such high hopes.
Man, they did not justify. This is my last thing I'll say on this for sure. What they're doing in this.
Yeah.
So far, the first movie could have easily been 30 minutes. This movie could have easily been 30 minutes. And I haven't seen the third one yet, but going off of those,
100%
you could 100% put all three of these films into one film.
Yes.
At like 2 hours at max.
Yeah.
There's no excuse. Because this film, as you said, it's very repetitive. I agree. So if you just took just the hospital chase.
Oh my God, that's like...
And maybe the animal scene, I know you don't like it, but that's at least something different. And then that's all you got from this movie. And then the stuff with the killers. That would be about 30 minutes. Yep. And then you can do I can take 30 minutes of the first film. That's necessary. And you have an hour. And then you have the last 30 minutes, which is probably going to be a condension of whatever the hell's in the third one that's going to feel too long and repetitive. So it was stretched way too much.
Yeah, it feels like a cash grab.
Yeah.
Like an attempt just to be like, yeah, let's get everybody to come out to the theater 3 times to watch our stinky little Strangers trilogy.
All right. That's that. Bye, guys.
Bye.